Hey guys, so we are going to get started. For starters, I'm going to mash 3 bananas. Some parts I am going to leave out just because I don't like the way that it looks. So here I am mashing my bananas with a fork. It's not a special fork, it's just a regular fork that you eat with. I find it way easier to mash the bananas with the fork instead of like an actual masher. I think it comes out way better. And as you guys will see throughout this entire video, I use a fork to pretty much mix everything. Again, I think it's more easier to maneuver with the fork versus using a spoon or a spatula. Okay, so next we are adding 1/3 cup of coconut oil. And then to that I am adding 1/4 cup of applesauce. This is I know it's just the children's Mott's applesauce, but it's perfectly fine. Usually I use unsweetened applesauce, but I only had this one and it's the cinnamon flavored kind, so this works out just as good. And this is the replacement for an egg. So if you were to make regular banana bread with eggs, this is what you would use, 1 egg, but I like to use applesauce as a replacement. 1, because I'm vegan, and then 2, just because I like to use applesauce when baking goods anyways. So I think it turns out way better using the applesauce. And again, I usually use the unsweetened applesauce, but this time all I had was the cinnamon one, and it's totally fine. So I'm just gonna give that a good mix. And here I was talking to my son, asking him to bring me a paper towel. I think I got some applesauce in my nail. So I'm adding the imitation vanilla extract. You can use real vanilla. I would actually recommend you use real vanilla, but you know, imitation is just as good. And then also, as like just a little addition, I added some maple syrup. This is maple and agave mixed syrup. I got it from Trader Joe's, in case you guys are wondering. But I just added a little bit of syrup just to kind of give it another sweetness or a little bit of additional flavoring to it. That is not recommended. That's just something that I decided to do on my own. So giving that a good mix, and then we will prepare the dry ingredients next. So here we are getting ready to do the dry ingredients. We are using gluten-free flour, and the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of flour. So guys, with the flour, I was actually kind of eyeballing it, and I realized that basically what I had left in my bag was about 1.5 cups of it. So I just poured it all in the pan, or all in the bowl. And I like to clean as I go, so I'm sticking, you see, the banana peels and stuff inside the flour bag, just because everything is gonna go in the trash anyway. I don't like to prepare stuff in a dirty, messy area. Just not my vibe. So to that, I'm going to add some cinnamon. There's no specific amount, but if you are a measurer, probably about 1 teaspoon or so will do. I just like to eyeball it and add as much as I see fit. And then also going to add about 1 teaspoon or less of Himalayan pink salt. You can add any type of salt that you desire to use. It's totally up to you. Almost forgot the baking soda. I add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So after that, you will give all of your dry ingredients a good mix to get everything stirred together. And I totally forgot to add my sugar to the wet mixture. So that is what I am getting ready to do now. I don't know how I forgot about that, but I did. So your sugar will always go with your wet mixture. I know sometimes people might think it'll go with the dry, but it does better in the wet mixture just because it can dissolve better in there. And then it's not so like gritty, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyways, the recipe also calls for 1 cup of sugar. I'm using the organic cane sugar, and as you can see, I didn't fill mine up all the way to 1 cup. I don't like to make my bread too sweet just because it's already, you know, sweet as it is, so I didn't want to really add too much. And I gradually add the sugar into the mixture, making sure I give it a good stir. And then add the rest in and continue to stir that until it's well mixed. So as you guys can see in my wet mixture, you can see like the banana pieces. That's totally fine because when you bite into the bread, you know, you get to get a little bite of bananas. So I think that's always a good thing. And now I am gradually adding the dry mixture. And like I said, gradually add. So you don't want to pour it all together at once because you want it to evenly mix together. So you don't want to pour it all together at once. That won't really mix as well. And also, as you guys can see, I am still using the fork. As I said before, the fork really does the job well. Honestly, you get to really mix everything, and then you can scrape the sides with no issues. So I absolutely love using the fork for the entire recipe just because it mixes very well. So you just continue to gradually add the flour into the mixture until you're done, and then you evenly mix everything together. You guys see how it's so easy to scrape the sides with the flour? Like, this is why I love using the fork, because it works out perfect. Like, you get to scrape the sides, everything scrapes even. It's perfect, y'all. I love it. So you guys seen my son's hand. He was trying to take the what do you call it? He was trying to take the chocolate chips and eat them. I told him he had to wait until after I added them into my bread. Alrighty, so here I'm going to add some chopped walnuts. These are leftover walnuts that I had from probably another bacon recipe. So I just added a few walnuts into the bread. What's banana bread without walnuts, you know? So I gave it about 2 handfuls. And then mix that together evenly. So I was letting my son spray the pan. I had to take over a little bit just to kind of gradually spray it. I keep saying gradually in this video. But I'm just using the regular Good and Gather olive oil nonstick cooking spray to spray the pan with. That came from Target, in case you guys were wondering, the olive oil. And now we're going to pour the mixture into the pan. So here I'm just evenly spreading it out throughout the pan. I like for things to be extremely neat, guys. So if you see me like, you know, being overly extra or doing too much, that's just because I like stuff to look really neat. So I decided to add half of, or not even half, but like maybe a fourth of chocolate chips inside the bread. So I put them on like one side. Like I said, probably about a fourth of the amount of that. So I added them in there. I know people do chocolate chips and banana bread a lot, so I wanted to do that only on a certain portion of mine because everyone does not like chocolate chips or those that are going to eat the banana bread. So I just wanted to put it on there, or put it in there just a little bit, and now I'm gonna spread that back again because I like stuff to look really neat. So here is the finished product before, and we are going to put in the oven. All right, so here is the bread. It has been baking for about 30 to 40 minutes. And that line that you guys seen in there, I put that there when I first checked on it, and it wasn't finished all the way. As you guys can see, I just checked it again, so it's still a little runny a little bit. So I'm gonna clean off the knife and poke the other end of it and see if it's still wet on that side. And that's probably like a little bit in the middle of the bread. and you see that comes out clean. So I would say for baking time, probably about 45 minutes to an hour, if you will. Totally your choice, but 45 minutes to an hour I think will do it good. So here I'm using the Country Crock plant butter. It's the almond oil flavor. And I'm just going to use that to butter the top of the banana bread. I like to butter the top of the bread as soon as it comes out the oven so it's still hot. It melts right away and it just gives it a good touch, ending touch. And also I would recommend to not cut it, obviously, until it cools down. And here is the finished product. This is vegan, gluten-free banana bread. I hope you guys try it out and also add whatever things you want to it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.